We're talking a little bit more about health. Not too much more because, to be honest, this is about the most boring material I can possibly imagine. Have I told you I'm an experimentalist? Oh, good. Never ask me to teach a clinical psych class because I will quit, even with tenure. All right. So confiding in others is good for us. We find that annual depression rates for people that are married are lower, people that were never married, people that are divorced once, just like this, craziness. Social support across the lifespan, yeah. Oh, this is kind of scary. The number of total confidants. A confidant is like somebody that you can trust, that you can tell your deepest, darkest secrets to. In 1985, the lines on the left-hand side, 1985 on the left-hand side, this is like the percentage of people that had 5 confidants or 6 or 4 or whatever. We see what happens is, let's look at the simple one. In 1985, only 10% of people had no confidants. In 2004, 25% of people do. What's the difference? In 1985, in my house, you could walk from my house to the neighbor's backyard, to their neighbor's backyard, and never once see a fence. Nowadays, there's a fence between every single yard. Those fences are bad, bad, bad. Everywhere there's a fence. Blah, blah. Interesting. Religious attendance. This is interesting. People that go to church more often, they live longer. The life expectancy of people that never go to church is about 75. Those that go less than once a week, about close to 80. Those that go once a week, about 81, 82. More than once a week, slightly more. Why? God loves them more. All right, that's not true. That's just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Now, it's probably got to do with several things. Number one, women tend to be more religious than men, and women have a longer lifespan to begin with. People that go to church, it's not like you're forbidden to smoke and drink if you go to church, but it is frowned upon. So they have healthier behaviors. But one of the major aspects of religious involvement is the social support, okay? And the hope and the positive emotions that are created through the religion, okay? So there is the behavior, there is the social support, and there is the positive emotions. Here's an interesting notion, the social readjustment rating scale. What they did is they created I don't have it here, but they had like 100 different events, and they rate them, and like death of a spouse has an impact on your life of 100. Divorce has an impact of 73. These are major life events, either positive or negative, okay? Because stress comes from both, okay? Marriage is a 45, all right? Christmas, 27. So something like this. So all of these positives and negatives, but imagine the list is really quite large and it involves things like, getting a new dog, 9 or something. I mean, just as it goes down, the impact changes based on how significant they are. And then what they do is they calculate how many life change units that you've had in the last year. And if you had between 150 and 199, then 37% of them had health problems. If your total number of life change units was 200 to 300, then 51%. If you have more than 300, then 79%. So clearly, as the number of life change units, either positive or negative, right, as those go up, health goes down. And this is an interesting, it's good prediction, it's good correlation, but there's some problems, of course, because it's like, say, for example, here's a question, impact of death of spouse. How positively or negatively would you, positively or negatively, I'm going to let that alone, would the death of a spouse be on you? And it's like, some people it would be extremely negative, some people would be somewhat negative, clearly people would have different responses to this. So to impose an artificial 100 for death of spouse doesn't really make sense. That doesn't change the fact that this correlation is true. This limitation is quite severe, but it's still true that the correlation works and the prediction works. Or here, marriage was given a 50, right? Was it a 50? Here it's a 45, whatever. So marriage is given a 50. However, like I said, this list is huge. Change in living conditions is a 30. Change in personal habits is a 24. Change of residence is a 20. Change in social activities is an 18. Change in family structure. Change in eating habits. Look at that. These are all coming with marriage, aren't they? All right. When you get married, everything changes. All right. You find out you don't get your privacy anymore, and all kinds of funky things happen. All right. Whatever. You guys read this one someplace else. Selye's. It's interesting, but maybe it's not exactly social psych. So anyway, here it is. Coping with stress. This is a neat little slide. Shit happens. That's just, everybody has shit happen. Well, guess what? When shit happens, we can appraise it as either a challenge or a threat. Okay? It's up to you to make a decision how you approach it. We'll combine that with the type of personality you are. Perhaps, a type A person or a type B person or a depressed person or a non-depressed or optimistic or pessimistic or something. Combined with that personal habits, like how much you smoke and how much exercise you get and stuff. Combine that with how much social support you have. And putting all of these together, you get a tendency towards health or illness. Okay? So it's not a simple thing. We talked about each one of these somewhat separately, but yet all of them work together to move towards health. Right? But the key is shit happens to everybody, right? That's everyone. Blah, blah, blah. All right, look at that. I'm done with this second one, or this one, very quickly today. Suffice it to say, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm going to give you this. I got my bachelor's degree. I already sat through this class and did my job. So you make sure you do a better job reading this material because I don't enjoy it that much. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be reading it, all right? I will see you next time to be talking about social psychology in the courtroom.